Hey y'all, it's Angel, your best friend who happens to be a therapist. I still can't believe they talked me into doing a podcast, but here I am and here we go. I'm not gonna lie to you, we gonna talk about everything. Nothing's off limits, the good, bad, and the ugly. So put your seatbelt on and enjoy the ride. Hey friends, I am back with probably one of the most special guests I will ever have on this show. As you know, it is Women's History Month, and I could not think of a better way to start it off than with one of my female heroes, my mother. Welcome, Mom.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, darling.
The reason she is, one of my top heroes, not only because she birthed me and brought me into this world, but that she raised me and she loved me enough to teach me a lot of things, a lot of hard lessons. She was strict coming up. She was 25 when she had me. And she was strict. She was off the chain. But I appreciate those things now because it kind of made me who I am today. Do you know you made me as resilient as I am because of how strict you were or because of how hard you were on me? I can't really speak for my other sisters, so I'm only going to speak for me.
Well, I'm happy to know that I've made a positive input into your life and hopefully others that I helped along the way.
Yeah, because she was the mother that, how most kids brought home animals and bugs and shit. I didn't do that. Did I bring home animals and bugs? I never did that. I brought home people.
You bring home bugs.
I brought home people. I brought home people. I always had friends over, and you were like the neighborhood mom, but not just in the neighborhood.
Yeah, your whole life, all of your lives.
Right. So she had 3 girls. She birthed 3 girls. That's not all the sisters I got, because daddies was out there doing what they were doing, but she birthed 3 girls. It's 3 of us, and I'm the middle child. Yeah, the oldest, I'm the middle, and then there's me.
It was hard and expensive.
Yes, and she was a single mom. How did you do it?
Well, I loved my kids, and it wasn't their fault that life just wasn't the norm for everybody. So I had to make sure that I worked 2, 3, 4 jobs to make sure that they had everything that they should have had growing up in life.
You did work a lot of jobs.
Mm-hmm. Dance, everything.
And I didn't go without, ever. I was actually quite spoiled.
God blessed us. He really did. He gave me the strength to do all that I had to do. And their grandmother played a very good role because she was the babysitter when I had to work.
Yeah, we weren't home. I was never a latchkey kid. And I wasn't home by myself either. I don't think you didn't start leaving me home by myself till I was in high school. Before high school, I was at my grandmother's house. Which my grandmother was the best.
The best.
I don't even want to start crying. I feel like if we start talking about her,
mm-hmm.
We're going to start crying.
We will.
Because she was the best. She introduced me to God. Right? So instead of reading bedtime stories and Dr. Seuss books and things like that, she read me the Bible. That was the only book she ever read me. And she read to me a lot. So
you stayed with her more than the other 2. Well, no, Ariane was with her too as well. She was there for her first 2 years right before she passed. So yeah.
Yeah, so Ariane got her when she was a baby. Cherry had her the longest.
She did.
But she's the oldest.
Yeah, she had both her babies.
So being a single mother, one of the things that I've always admired you for is your ability to co-parent. Because I have a lot of clients that, I try to help them through co-parenting, and I use you as the role model.
That's an honor. Thank you.
Why are you laughing though?
Cree looks so pretty.
Oh, you looking at the picture? Lord. Cree's my baby girl, by the way. So you co-parented, like you made it look easy. I know it wasn't easy. Like as an adult, I know it wasn't easy. Like looking back, I know that wasn't easy, but you made it look easy. So like my mother would do things like, if it was my father's birthday, she would make sure that I not only talked to him, but spent time with him. Like you kind of went above and beyond to make sure I had a good relationship with him. In spite of anything that he said or did to you. Like I don't really know all of what y'all went through. You kind of shielded me from that. Well, you did shield me.
I tried not to hold grudges. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. It just fell apart. Everybody just grew apart. But you had to know where you came from.
So you felt like it was important for me to know where I came from. And because of that, you put all of your feelings to the side. Do you know how many people can't do that nowadays? Or don't do that? Say that out loud.
Or don't care. But yes, I've always been a mother that cared. I was 100% into it. I had to be.
Were you like that when you first started having children?
No. In the beginning, when I first had kids, I was just way too young. It was much harder. But I always worked, and I always made sure that the kids, that my daughter had everything she had. Because at first I only had one. And that's why she is so spoiled, because she had everything she ever wanted or needed. She had it. And she got it from her grandparents, as well as myself. Then when everybody else came, then that's when I had to work more than one job. And it was working the jobs, but I always picked fun jobs that made it easier.
Oh, okay.
So
you picked fun jobs to work. Yeah, we worked like 3 or 4 jobs. You made the jobs fun to try to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we benefited a lot from that.
Yes.
All right. So back to the co-parenting piece, because I feel like you were really good at it. And like I said, I use you as the role model when I'm helping people get through and understand what co-parenting really is and what it looks like. Like, for example, you were actually friends with, like my stepmothers, or I don't want to say friends, not like friends where y'all was like going out, kicking it, having fun, but like you didn't have any baby mama drama. Did you have any baby mama drama that I don't know about?
That was only one, and she was very selfish, and I didn't allow it. And that was the only one. Everybody else, we were cordial.
You would allow like other siblings to come spend the night at our house that were not your own. I would say that. Well, that is not, I don't know nobody like that in 2024 that will allow their baby father, other child, to come spend the night at their house. But like you said earlier, you wanted you wanted us to have a relationship with all of our siblings, and you went above and beyond and did that. Like, you didn't just set up a play date and let's meet somewhere. You were like, no, they can come over my house. They can spend a night. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was a big family. We just became a big family without benefits.
you said without benefits.
Yeah, it was like a big family.
You're talking about. So were you like, okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, without benefits, because I feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the reason you were able to do this is because you didn't want them.
The men, you about the men?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you didn't want them for real.
Yeah,
like, for real.
Yes, I'm not one to put up with me being second best, third best, fourth best. If I'm not number one, then that relationship is over. But as far as the kids go, we have to maintain for the kids. We have to be social. We can't bicker and fight and go crazy in front of the kids. Because we want them to have a better life as they grow older and start dating and having relationships, that they have a great relationship. Not say, well, my mother and father used to do this and used to do that, so this is what we're going to do. No, we're not going to show them that part of that life so that they will have a good life. And so far, they have a good life.
Yeah, I mean, you really did teach a whole lot about. I mean, I'm not a co-parent. I knew I didn't want to do that. That was something that I did not want to do at all. I didn't want to share that much.
Neither does Ariel. She doesn't want to do it either. She wants it. She wants the perfect family as well.
Oh, that's not. It ain't perfect.
Well, it's
you mean
close.
just intact, just traditional?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. I mean, I knew that about myself. So, I didn't want that. I didn't want that for me. I didn't want that for me. You did it so well. I didn't think I had it in me to do that. I mean, I feel like I could. I could if I needed to.
If you had to.
I could if I needed to, but I didn't want to.
It's like if a parent dies, you have to keep on going. You gotta keep it going. You can't sit there and say, oh my God, I feel sorry for myself. I feel sorry for you all. No, you have to keep going.
Well, you have your permission to break, but you got to get back up.
I didn't have time. I didn't have time. Between all the jobs and keeping y'all where you had to go.
You think that helped you, though, through your grief?
It did.
Because it forced you to keep going.
Kept me busy.
Yeah.
I didn't have idle time.
I always felt like the reason there's always like baby mama or baby daddy drama was because they kind of secretly still wanted to be with the other person. Maybe not even secret all the time, but they still wanted to be with the other person. So kind of like that jealousy and all that stuff would come up, and that's where the drama would come in.
That was very rare. Well, if I didn't like any of the women, I didn't want them around my kids, and that would be the baby mama. That's why I said it was like one that just didn't blend in. The rest were cool.
Were they cool or were you cool?
They were cool too. You have to have God in your life. You have to be able to forgive. You have to be able to look beyond you can't be selfish. If you're selfish, it's not going to work. So if you're not selfish, you can open your mind and you can just deal with whatever comes along. You have to do what you have to do for your kids. Bottom line, it's all for the kids. Once you have kids, they become number one. You're second best. And whatever comes along, you have to deal with it.
So you're saying that the key to a successful co-parenting relationship is to be selfless?
Yes. That's the only way you can do it.
Got it. to put your kids first.
I always have.
You have. I cannot argue with that at all. Did you do any self-care?
I ain't had time. When I say didn't have time, I didn't have time. I only had time to work those jobs. Because the co-parent wasn't as great as I would have wanted it to be, because he was always trying to live his life and have time for himself. So it was never time for me. I had to always make sure if he counseled at the last minute, then that mean I had to stop what I was doing and go do what had to be done. So I never had a break.
Grandma gave you breaks.
She helped babysit so that I could work the 4 jobs. So I never had a break. No, I never had a break.
And another thing I will say about my mother, I can literally count on one hand how many men I have seen you date.
No, I don't do that. I don't know how women can, well, I'm not criticizing anyone, so I'm not going to say that. But I just didn't bring other men around my kids. For one, my mom didn't allow it. And for two, it's too many crazy people out here. And if I got to work all the time, I can't be at work and make sure nobody harms my kids in any kind of way. So
it wasn't worth the risk. It wasn't worth the risk for you.
No, it wasn't at all.
So, but you still had you had a life though. Like you still dated people, you just didn't bring them around.
Off and on. But it wasn't a lot. It was nothing that ever materialized because I never gave it a chance.
They just didn't stay around long enough.
A lot of people don't like other people's kids, and they're not going to do for those kids, for the other people's kids, the way you want it done. And if you can't do it, if you can't treat them as if they were yours, then why bother? That's another headache. That's a headache. You don't want that headache. Because then now you're going to fight. That's a fight. Then you got to fight with them because you don't like the way they treated the kids, or they didn't do this or they didn't do that. So forget it. I'll just do it myself.
Do you ever experience any guilt for being a single mom?
I wish I had had more time to spend with my kids. But we could have gone out of the country, taken family trips and all of that. Yeah, I regret that for them. But I'm glad that they decided to do that with their family. So what they were missing that I didn't give them, they actually do it with their kids. Because I didn't have that kind of money. I made sure that they had the necessities. They had every opportunity in life that I could give them. But as far as traveling out of the country, we didn't do that. We did travel, but we just didn't
travel out of the country.
We didn't travel out of the country. Yeah, we did go on trips. Yeah, they did the Disney World and all that. Yeah, they did all of that.
Yeah, which I didn't even like. I did not like Disney World. You know, when I took my kids, I still ain't like it. It's overrated.
It is. It's a lot of money.
It is so overrated.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money and for nothing. Kings and Minion is so much better than Disney World. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about, or I wanted you to kind of share your experience and wisdom, is on how co-parenting is a lifetime task. I often remind people, when you decide to have a child with someone, you are bound with them forever. It doesn't end at 18. It doesn't end at 21. Like, you were still around my father a lot because you have to co-parent with grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And, you know, like, you have to, it never ends. So I try to remind people, when you are choosing to have a baby with someone, remember, you're choosing to spend an entire lifetime with them.
Absolutely. The only way it ends is if someone passes.
But does it even end there? Because you still have to deal with, like, his family. Is that a no? Like, shit, no, I don't.
I didn't.
You,
I didn't have to deal with his family. I let that go.
if they're younger, you would.
Well, if they're younger, then yeah, we got to do that. But we're talking now about grown kids. But when you, yeah, it's a lifetime thing. It doesn't end until actually someone passes, and when they pass, it depends on the children. Sometimes the children, when that loved one pass, then they forget about it. You got other kids that won't forget about it, and they sincerely love that individual that did go. So then that's when it continues on. That's when when the kids start asking a bunch of questions. Then you gotta, if someone is still living, you gotta deal with them. You gotta take them around them. You gotta talk, and hopefully everybody has matured enough that it's a good relationship. You can get through it. They can learn about their heritage. That's most important. They must know their heritage. If they don't know that, you have to know that for illnesses, people get sick. If you don't know what someone in the family have or had, then the doctor has a hard time helping them to get through whatever they have, because they have to know what is going on with everybody throughout the whole entire family.
I don't think this generation even considers genetics and what that looks like and how it's passed on. And to double down on it, the older generations didn't talk about that kind of stuff. They barely went to the doctor, and if they did, they kept that shit hush-hush.
Yeah, they wouldn't tell.
Yeah.
But luckily, what happened is I'm the baby out of 5. My oldest sister that just passed was 84. So that goes to tell you how much younger I was from all of my siblings. So I grew up with my nieces and nephews. So we as a whole stayed close. And their kids and my kids, I kept everybody's kids to make sure that everybody
knew everybody.
Everybody knew everybody.
That's
so
true.
And kids talk. Well, I had this, I went to the doctors, I had that. So they all know what they had to look forward to when they went to the doctor. Well, my cousin, this cousin had this and this cousin had that. You think I might get it? Whatever. But it's just, so yeah, that was fortunate for me that I was the baby out of 5 and I was so far behind that I grew up with my nieces and nephews, and we all know about each other. So that helps them with their illness, if there are any illness, because you have to know now. You really have to know who had what, especially when it comes to cancer.
Hopefully they're listening and they will start to do that and ask questions. I ask questions. I ask all the elders 1,000 questions. So I kind of have, I feel like, just a lot more information because I always just ask a lot of questions.
That's the only way you're going to know.
Yeah, because they were not forthcoming at all. And hell, I'm almost sure some of the questions I answered, they was like, you don't need to know that. Mm-hmm. They're like, you don't need to know that, or you too young to know that, or we're not talking about that. I got a lot of pushback on some of my questions too. But it's beneficial for everyone to know.
It's very important that you talk. Especially mental illness. Mental illness is so rapid now. You need to know who has whatever illness.
You just want to know what you're more susceptible to, right? So if there's addiction that runs in your family, they, have found genetic components of addiction. So you're just a little more susceptible to being an alcoholic or being addicted to a substance if you have that in your family. Just like cancer. If it runs in your family, you're just more susceptible to getting diagnosed. Increases your odds.
Same with the Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
Same with that.
Mm-hmm.
All these big illnesses now that the doctors are spending a lot of money and time into, you should know. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about. No. It happens to damn near everyone. There's a one kid that gets in trouble. There's one kid that's good.
But we've had several in our family. Listen, I already told them before, I have a big family. And not just on my mother's side, father's side too. And then all of that extended family of all the other children. It's like, it is huge. It's huge. It's a lot. It's a lot of people, a lot of information, a lot of personalities. Everybody does not get along. But I will say you did keep a lot of people. Like, we always had a house full of people, not necessarily that live with us, but like every weekend there were people at our house. Like, you were like the hostess with the mostest.
The old lady that lived in the shoe.
But you were old.
But it was like the old lady that lived in the shoe. Everybody was in this shoe.
I hope y'all are picking up on the fact that she was working 3 to 4 jobs. And when she was home, she had a house full of people and she was hosting, which is a whole nother job in itself.
Yeah.
Like,
but
seriously.
It was fun. It was fun. It's for the kid. When you're doing stuff from the heart, it's fun. It's worth it. If you're doing it because you feel as though I have to do it, then it's a chore. But if you're doing it from the heart, it's fun and it's worthwhile. It's exciting.
Mike and I did a podcast about marriage and it's hard and, how hard it is, but it's a covenant. So you kind of push through those hard times. And it came up that he had to adjust to my family because, his is a lot more traditional in the sense of, they see each other when, like on special occasions and if they make plans. But my family isn't like that. Yesterday, we went out for a birthday party. We came back. And how many people came? It was like, we started out with just us 4 in the house. And when we came back, by 10 o'clock, it was how many extra people in this house? Like 8 extra people in this house. And that was not planned. Like, families just kind of dropped by, came by. Some spent the night, some didn't. Like, it just kind of happens. It's not, our family doesn't operate just on plans. It's just, if I'm in the neighborhood, I'm stopping by Angel's house. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I'm going to call and say, are you home? And as long as I say yes, it ain't even like, are you home? What you doing? Is it okay if I drop by? That part doesn't happen. It's just more of a, you home? Yeah. All right, cool. And it's like, and he had to adjust to that because that's not how his family operates. But and it's so many of us, it's not just one person that does that. Because when one finds out, they like, oh, you going to Angel's house? Oh, bet, I'll be there too. Like, it's not like, and that's how your house was.
Yeah, because that's how I am. When I came last night, Angel said, well, you could have gave me heads up. Heads up for what?
Right, because she had invited extra people that I didn't even know was coming. I knew she was coming, but I didn't know she had invited extra people. I mean, it's fine. It's just the day. I'm like, give me a heads up. What if I needed to go to the store and get some more stuff?
Sorry.
No, she's not. She's not sorry because she's going to do it again. But it's all good. That's how you raised us.
That's family. It's family.
Yeah, that's how you raised us to just, it is what it is.
That's family.
Yeah.
When one eat, all eats. If it's one slice of cake, everybody's gonna get a piece of that slice if they want it. Simple as that.
That's a good place to end. I like that. And you included the co-parenting piece in that slice. You shared your slice with your children's fathers and their family too. You did. You did a good job, Mom.
Appreciate it.
You did. You did a really good job. You taught me a lot.
I love all my kids, even though some of them are like, where was that coming from? But I love all my kids.
Mind you, she said that about all of us at one point.
All my grandkids, everybody. But one thing I will say, I don't deal with there is no disrespect from anyone. I'm not dealing with disrespect.
Agreed.
And I'm not going to make a difference out of any of them. They all going to be treated the same. Period.
Agreed. You do. You go above and beyond for everybody. You do not pick and choose who you go above and beyond for.
And if I don't make it to a kid's event, it's because I am tired. I just couldn't do it, or I couldn't get there. But I try to make it to all events, even if I'm walking in the door and we're getting ready to walk out. I made it.
You feel bad. You feel guilty for not making stuff, don't you?
Sometimes I'm like, okay, I was here. I'll hide from the kids so that they won't know that I was late coming in there. I'll sneak in there. They're like, Grandma saw you do that. That's why I saw it. Yeah, I saw that.
That's funny. You know, some would say you care too much.
I probably do, but that's who I am. That's who I am.
That's how Grandma was. That's how Grandma was.
Yep.
That's where you got that from. I'm trying not to be that like that.
Eventually you will, especially when your kids grow up and have kids.
I'm trying to have more balance. Because you, like you just said, you didn't have any self-care. You didn't do any self-care.
Well, you do.
Yeah, I was like, but in the time that you did have, you fill that time with everyone coming over our house. Like my mother used to have like fight parties, Super Bowl parties, basketball parties. Like there was a championship. Everybody come to our house, you know, to watch the game or whatever. Like it was always a party. It was always a party, and it didn't even have to be a game. It was just a party.
And my oldest one is still partying.
And you ain't lying, boy. She parties. She parties. But I do. I try to balance it out. I try to get my self-care in. I try to be mindful of that. Because you know what happened when you didn't get your self-care in? You were mean.
Oh.
When you were tired and you were exhausted, but you were still hosting and working jobs and mothering and all that stuff, that's when you got mean. You was like, I don't have time for this shit. That was like one of your favorites. I don't have time for this shit. You used to say all the time. You still say it.
Nobody left. They still stayed. They didn't care.
Neither did you. You never put nobody out. You know, neither did you. But you were just like, I don't have time for this shit. That's when you would get, you know, your fuse would be...
Time me go to bed.
Yeah. Your fuse would be gone. Like, gone.
But I never had anybody run to sneak out and go to parties or any of that. They were all comfortable in the house, so I never had that problem where I fall asleep, wake up, the police calling me because somebody got arrested or whatever. They all was in the house. They didn't go nowhere. Everything was always there that they needed in the house. Food,
that's true.
fun.
Like I never ran away. I never skipped school. I never skipped school. I didn't have a reason to skip school. And I never snuck out.
There was no reason to.
I didn't. I never snuck out of the house. Because you know what? If one of my friends wanted to come over, I would just say, Mom, can such and such come over? She would be like, yeah. You never said no. And I don't think it wasn't that like you didn't have boundaries or rules. It was more like, why are they coming over this late at night? Something must be wrong. Let them come so that you can make sure that they're okay because of their parent. Because you knew their parent, and you rather say, I let them come here and be safe.
Well, I called their parents. Their parents knew where they were.
So
their parents already knew where they were.
So she would call the parent and tell them like, oh, they're here because you rather them be safe.
Yeah, their parents knew where they were.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to bring that up. That was something I did think about. So no matter if my mother was beefing with my father or like whatever, like if they was going through whatever they was going through that I didn't know, or even if I knew that they weren't really on the best of speaking terms, if I did anything, I never forget this time you set me up. I thought they was beefing, and I don't know what I did. I do not remember what I did, but when I came home, it was you and him sitting in the living room, and I was like, "What the fuck is he doing here?" Like, I absolutely did not think that you would have called him, and I got in trouble by both of y'all. And I will say, you kept a united front when it came down to. I don't even remember what I did. Do you remember what I did?
I remember what you did, but I know that you, in order to keep your kids from venturing out to other people, telling them, giving them advice, you gotta work together. It has to be a togetherness. It has to come from the mother and the father or a family member. Otherwise, it gets out of control. It gets out of control because that individual is not going to be on the same page with you. And if you're not on the same page, there's a problem.
Yeah, like
there's a problem.
When shit went down, if you felt like I was right, if you felt like I was about to spin out of control, you would call him over there, and y'all would surprise me, and it would be like a angel intervention, and you did.
Absolutely.
It didn't even matter if you was mad at him for whatever he didn't do.
Right.
Or, like you did. You put that to the side and said, nope, you need to come here. Is she wilding out? Come here so we can get her back under control.
Absolutely.
You did. But you did. You set me up. I did not. I was not expecting him to be in that living room when I came home. Like, what the hell? What was going on? So I didn't know you was calling their parents either to let them know. Well, friends, when y'all thought y'all was escaping and coming to my house, it was not an escape.
Well, they had to know why they didn't get in trouble when they got home.
I don't know whatever happened to them when they would get home.
No, because I
don't remember.
Once the parents are calm, there is no getting in trouble. It might be a talk, but you're not going to get in trouble because then that parent can sleep at night because they know that child is safe.
It's safe and sound. Yeah. Because you cared about what that parent thought. Yeah.
You should never do that. You should never not tell a friend, because you're not trying to be friends with your kids. You're trying to keep your kids safe.
Oh, that's another good one. You can't be friends with your kids.
Not like that. I mean, you can be mother, daughters, mother, son, and father, son, and all that. You can be friends, but not like, I'm going to go out and club with you and all that. No, that's asking for trouble. That's until you get of age and you're grown. Not when you're kids. And there are a lot of parents out here that get high with their kids, smoke with their kids, drink with their kids. One thing, kids talk too much, so I never will do that.
Mom, well, now.
Not when you was kids.
No. I was about to say, you try to drink with me now, but.
That's now. I say when you're grown.
Yeah, no, you did not. You absolutely did not. No, my mother would torture me. If she knew I was hungover, she would make me do shit like clean the bathroom with a toothbrush. She'd like, this grout is not clean enough. You would make me clean the grout in the shower, like the tile with it. You remember? You're like, oh yeah, I know. And then she would like get up and cook like a whole bunch of food, knowing good and damn well that smell is gonna make me want to throw up even more. Like, you would do things to torture me. Like, you know how like most kids just get like a beating and they get punished? No. I got punished and tortured in those kind of ways. Like, I would have to clean or smell like food, and she know I'm like ready to Earl. Why are you cooking like this right now? Now looking back on it, I know it was to torture me. Back then, I was like, this lady is crazy. I don't know why she's doing this. But now I know it's to torture me.
It wasn't torture.
What was it?
A learning lesson.
I learned. Mm-hmm. I learned some good torturing techniques for my kids too. Mm-hmm. I sure did. I sure do. So concrete, ooh. I learned from the best.
They'll be good.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. But thank you, Mom.
You're welcome. Love you.
Love you more. All right, guys.
Bye, everyone.
It's National Women's History Month. If your mom is still living and alive, go give her a hug and a kiss.
So if you have elderly parents that are sitting at home with nothing to do, take them to your closest senior place. They have everything for them to do, and they will have a ball. It'll free up your time as well.
You want to know what, Mom? You know God's favorite thing is service to others. And you have been serving others
all my life.
Since I've known you.
All my life.
My whole life. And here you are, still serving others.
Yeah, because do
you know that's why God has blessed you so much?
Well, I tell you this, when they bring them people in, they ask for me. They say, I said, you mind playing cards? I said, okay. I'll make sure she's okay. Yeah. I look out for them.
That's another thing about my mother. Before we go, she did not like nobody calling her Mrs. anything. Everybody had to call her Charmaine. I mean, except for her kids. We have to call her Mom. Or Mom. We call you Mom. Mm-hmm. I call her Mommy when I want something. When I need something, I say Mommy. But I call her Mom normally. And but none of my friends or like she all makes everybody call her Charmaine. Like she did not want to be called Mrs. anything, Miss anything. You don't even have a nickname. You're just like, no, call me Charmaine. Mm-hmm. She didn't like that. Why you didn't like that?
That's too formal.
Some people would say calling an adult by their first name is disrespectful.
It's disrespectful, I know, but like, you make them call you Miss Kathy. I remember Kathy's like, well, they have to call me Miss. I said, oh, okay. That's your title. They ain't got to call. They don't have, as long as they're not calling me anything out of my name, I'm fine with it.
That also just kind of shows how humble you are.
Try to be.
That didn't matter to you.
Mm-mm.
Like all those titles and stuff, that doesn't matter to you.
Mm-mm. Nope, not at all.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you all learned a lot from this wise woman sitting right in front of me. Talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to I'm Not Gonna Lie to You podcast. Subscribe for more insightful and down-to-earth content. And don't forget to follow us on social media at An Angel's Touch 8 on Instagram and An Angel's Touch Therapy on Facebook.